When you see people playing piano and it's kind of big, it's full, it's rich, it's expressive, it has, well, quite frankly, a lot of the things that, we talked about helping you being able to do when you probably saw one of the advertisements for this course, right? And a lot of what that often comes down to is actually a pretty simple thing, at least in theory, maybe not in practice, but one of the things that I really want to show you that will help your playing become bigger and fuller and just have that depth and richness is playing in octaves. Often playing melodies in octaves, but it can be really anything. And playing in octaves it's more difficult because it requires more precision, right? For moving from here to here, for moving all over the place, it requires more precision because kind of by definition, if we're playing octaves with 1 and 5, any new note we go to, our hand is moving. Now there are certain things like you can play an octave with 1 and 4, and for a lot of people that's still very reachable, and kind of mitigate some of the distance by going from like 1 and 4 to 1 and 5. We're not going to really talk too much about that because that's more complicated, and it's something that really I never even really learned how to do until much later in my piano playing, so I'm not going to really delve too much into it. So mainly how we're going to play octaves very often is 1 and 5. And what do we play with octaves? Well, if we're already playing a melody, something like that, you just play that in octaves. Maybe with a little more accuracy. I'll talk a little bit about this in the exercise, but one of the best ways to be accurate in playing octaves is to kind of look at your thumb and look at where it's landing. Because if you keep this shape consistent, then if you're looking where your thumb is going and you know your thumb is going to land in the right spot, then realistically your pinky should also land in the right spot. And of course, right as I say that, I missed that E, but it's something to practice and to get more familiar with. But let's start putting this with some of our chords or some of our voicings in the left hand. And just as we start to incorporate some more of this stuff, I think you'll start to see where a lot of this expansive and rich and full and deep and whatever adjective you want to use is starting to come from. So we just put a blocked chord in the left hand. Yeah, why don't I just do a 5-finger scale but in octaves? And let's just hear how that sounds with different chords and kind of different arpeggiations in the left hand as well. Let's compare that with, or even up an octave. But in octaves, it already is starting to sound. I'm holding the pedal down a little bit, but starting to have a little bit of that energy to it. Now if we have an open position chord in the left hand. That's starting to sound even better, even fuller, right? That's pretty exciting. Again, compare that to. Again, we're starting to add some more of that. Now what if we add an arpeggio in the left hand? We basically arpeggiate this open position chord, and we talk a little bit more about that in the accompaniments video. So now we're adding movement in the left hand, and it's just getting even better. Pedal helps a lot with this too, but again, using your ear, not letting it get too messy, and just using discretion when using the pedal. But the pedal's a really big tool. But I think that's really kind of the main, probably most often used way to play octaves, and that is what I would call playing open octaves. But there's another way, and it adds just even another layer of fullness and richness to your playing, and that is playing what you might call blocked octaves, and I think that's exactly what it sounds like. Just like we had blocked chords, where it was just the notes of the chords just played all at the same time, right? Blocked octave is an octave with the notes of the chord also filled in. Takes a little bit of maneuvering the fingers because all of your fingers kind of have to be in the right place. I would most often play a blocked octave or a blocked octave of a major chord with 1, 2, 3, and 5, letting the fourth finger just kind of dangle. If it was A minor, a second version, you know, it might be 1, 2, 4, 5, but it could also be 1, 2, 3, and 5. I'm not going to delve too much into what fingers you might use, because I think the fingers you might use are self-explanatory just because there's really only so many options. If you're playing 4 notes at the same time, you know, it's probably going to be with 1 and 5, and then it's either 2 and 3 or 4 and 3, and so you can kind of judge for yourself what the best way to play those are. But anyway, playing blocked octaves can be a really, really great way to add another layer of depth and richness to your playing. Let's put the arpeggio in the left hand. Play different inversions in the right hand. And as you can hear, it's just another bit of just extra kind of flair to your piano playing. And then kind of another thing that we can talk about with blocked octaves as well is bringing in the idea of oblique motion, kind of like we talked about in the playing the melody and chord in the right hand at the same time. We can do the same thing with octaves as well. That's kind of what we demonstrated before, right? Where if that's the melody and the inner notes are staying the same, E and G are not moving. I love to do this a lot in all kinds of playing, and just when you're also just re-articulating the notes of the chord kind of every time, it just adds so much without really adding a ton of complexity, I would think, as well. And then that brings me to, you don't always, there's so many realms of possibility to work within these things as well. It's like what I just kind of naturally did there was just kind of break up the chord a little bit, playing the bottommost note of the chord with the thumb and then playing the rest of the chord of the blocked octave with the other fingers. So let's try some of that, just playing a C major chord above this arpeggio and just breaking up the chord in different ways. That's like playing the upper notes of the chord of the blocked octave with 2, 3, and 5, and then going to the bottommost note. And then, of course, we can put open octaves back to back with blocked octaves. So we kind of just start really getting comfortable with these things. You can mix and match them and just do all sorts of really fun and crazy things with them. Now, kind of what I just played brings me to kind of the last point I want to talk about when we're playing with octaves, is that often when the octaves are jumping a wide distance, I think there's very often probably a smart way to play them, what I call a smart way of playing octaves. And what that often entails is, say your octaves are leaping from D to A, right? Just up a fifth. And you're playing them fast, and so you can't quite be accurate with them. But what you can do is play them the smart way, and that is to choose one chord or the other, or one octave or the other, and play it as one singular note. So let's make the first note D the singular note. It's still a D to A, and you still get that octave on the second one, but instead of having to do, just have to do. Just way easier, right? And you're probably much less likely to miss that. Of course, it's good to be good at doing those jumps as well, but if you're wanting to be efficient and smart with your octave playing, then that's a great way to do it. We can also do it with the other note as well. We can make D the octave and then make A the single note. And in one of the final composition lessons that we do of this first composition that we're writing throughout this course, we'll employ that a little bit, and I'll kind of show you how to employ some more kind of smart octaves. And it really just all goes back to, if you have leaping octaves, there's usually a way to make one note a single note, and that will just help your octave playing just be a little bit more precise and easier to do.